in the middle of the Arizona desert. A truck driver named Dennis Crowley was following his regular late-night route when his GPS suddenly went completely blank. He looked up and saw a strange row of old houses standing in the desert where no town had ever existed. 2. The homes looked exactly like something from the late 1970s, with faded paint and outdated streets. Their windows flickered with a soft, glowing light that pulsed in a slow, unnatural rhythm. Dennis tried calling his dispatcher, but his radio filled with distorted whispers that sounded like voices speaking backward. When he snapped a picture of one house, he saw a child staring from the window. But when he lowered his phone, the window was empty. Within an hour, unmarked black SUVs surrounded the area as federal agents sealed off the mysterious town. They told Dennis to forget everything he saw, but he stayed hidden and watched them enter in full protective suits. Inside the houses, agents found warm food on tables and televisions still playing. Old shows from June 14, 1979. Every calendar in every home displayed that same date. As if time had stopped and refused to move forward. One agent entered a house alone and screamed in terror over the radio. When the others reached him, he had aged more than 40 years in just a few seconds. The agents examined him as he whispered, "They're still here." They never left. This sent a wave of fear through the entire investigation team. At exactly 11:29 p.m., every light in the abandoned town switched on at once. Children's laughter echoed through empty playgrounds, while thermal cameras detected hundreds of human heat signatures wandering the streets, even though nobody was visible. Hidden microphones captured whispered sentences forming in the cold night air. One voice said, "We are home," while another added, "Don't leave again." Their footprints suddenly appeared in the dust, forming lines like invisible children were walking. A moment later, larger adult footprints appeared alongside them, moving in perfect unison. Scientists later discovered that the town matched an old place called Ravenwood, which supposedly burned down in 1979. The houses were identical, as if the entire town had been pulled through time and dropped back into the present. 2. They found a diary inside one home with a final entry saying, "The sky cracked open. They walked into the light. We followed." This suggested the townspeople had not died, but had disappeared into something unknown. A security camera captured a split-second moment when a glowing tear opened in the sky above the town. Experts said the light pattern didn't match anything from Earth, natural or artificial. When agents followed the footprints into the school, they heard a classroom full of children reciting the alphabet. But when they opened the door, the room was completely empty. Chalk lifted by itself and wrote the words, "We're not supposed to talk to you yet." Agents backed away as the hallway temperature dropped suddenly. At the end of the corridor, a little girl wearing 1970s clothing appeared and stared at them without blinking. Before anyone could react, she flickered like a glitching hologram and vanished. Around 3:17 a.m., the ground shook as the buildings faded between solid and transparent. Radios began screaming warnings like, "Timeline breach. Collapse in 60 seconds." The glowing crack in the sky widened until it lit up the entire desert. Agents ran as the whole town began collapsing inward like a paper model being sucked into a vacuum. Dennis watched children holding hands, calmly walking toward the glowing tear. They stepped into the light and disappeared as if returning home. By dawn, every structure, road, and object was gone without a trace. Government officials erased the event and claimed it was a mirage caused by desert heat. 3 days later, Dennis received an envelope with no return address. Inside was a postcard stamped June 14, 1979, from Ravenwood. The message on the back said, "You came too early. Come back when the sky opens again." This left Dennis with more fear than answers. 2. This day, no one knows when or if Ravenwood will return. But calculations suggest the phenomenon will repeat in 2059, and next time it may not disappear peacefully.